This episode?
Yeah. Welcome to Cents and Sensibility, where we like to talk about money without the stress. My name is Chris. I'm here with my good friend.
I'm Phil.
So in today's episode, we're going to be comparing the Debt Snowball Method to paying off debt and the Debt Avalanche Method to paying off debt. Both of them work in different ways, but obviously both work to pay off your debt. So they're both proven methods for paying off your debt, but they work completely in different ways. If you've ever wondered which one you should choose or why people rave over one over the other, this episode is for you. All right, so first and foremost, let's start with the Debt Snowball Method. This method focuses on paying off the smallest debt first while making minimum payments on the rest of your debt. More specifically for credit cards, right? Once you knock out that first debt that you have picked out, you roll the money where you were paying on the first debt into this next smallest debt, and it starts building momentum like a snowball. But the more you pay off, the more motivated you feel to keep going because you see those results, right? With like most things, there are pros and there are cons, dude.
Yeah, Chris, I totally agree with that. A good example of the snowball effect would be, let's say you have three debts. One is a $500 credit card, the next one's a $2,000 personal loan, and the third one's a $10,000 car loan. With the snowball effect, you'd pay off the $500 credit card first, and then you'd roll those payments over into the $2,000 personal loan, and then end with the $10,000 car loan, because that would be the biggest one. So the pros to this method are motivation. It gives you those quick wins and makes you feel like you're making progress, which is huge when you're tackling a mountain of debt, But the cons, or the downside, you might end up paying more in interest because you're not focusing on the highest interest debt first, and really just focusing on the lowest debt amount, which is the easiest to tackle. So you could end up paying more just because of the interest.
Yeah, man, no, I totally agree that obviously there's pros and cons to everything, which is, I think, good that you kind of touched on that. I think that most people don't always look at it or most things that way, where like, hey, just assume everything's good. It's like a cookie cutter kind of system and one size fits all. The next thing is obviously the Debt Avalanche Method. So let's talk about, this method really just focuses on like paying off your highest interest debt first, regardless of the balance, right? So the idea is to save as much money as possible by tackling that debt because it's costing you the most, right? Because like the interest rates every month are going to be adding to that debt load. So if you can start tackling it, let alone, let's say, picking away at it, the interest rates won't be racking up as much additional debt, right?
Yeah, and a good example of the avalanche method would be using the same debts as before. Let's say it's a personal loan, a credit card, and a car loan. If the personal loan's at 15% interest rate, the credit card is at 20% interest rate, and the car loan's, let's say, at 7%, you'd start with the credit card because that's your highest interest rate, even though it's not the smallest balance. And the pros of the avalanche method, it saves you money in the long run because you're eliminating the highest interest debt first, and you're able to also roll that payment into the next debt as well, just like the snowball method. A con with this method, however, is there's a trade-off. It can take longer to see results, which might make it harder to stay motivated, and then you lose interest and start building up the debt again. So that would be the problem I see with this method.
Oh yeah, no, man, I totally agree. Staying disciplined and motivated is definitely one of the bigger factors when it comes to these two methods, and it really boils down to like a personality. Let's say, depending on your kind of personality and who you are, I think that's really going to decide which method you go with, right? Here's the deal, right? Both methods, at the end of the day, they both work, but the best one, like I said, really just depends on your personality and your goals. Most people don't think about this. So
yeah, Chris, if you choose the snowball method, you're going to want to do it if you need quick wins to stay motivated. You want to see those balances disappear, even if they're small, and that can give you a boost that you need to keep going. Yeah, and Chris, I would choose the avalanche method if you're focused on saving money and you're actually disciplined and can stick to a plan, even though you're not seeing results right away. This will actually save you more money on the interest in the long run, as opposed to the snowball. However, if you're still not sure, you can even combine the two methods realistically. So you can start with the snowball just for motivation, and then switch to avalanche once you've built up the momentum.
Let me know in the comments whether it's about, you being motivated, staying disciplined, or whichever, method works for you. Which one sounds like a better fit? Snowball or avalanche, right? Or are you thinking about combining the two? I'd love to hear how you're going about tackling your debt. But at the end of the day, the best debt payoff method is the one that you can stick with and that works for you, whether it's the snowball or the avalanche or a mix of the two. Key is consistency. It's always consistency, right? Start small, stay focused, and watch your debt disappear. As always, if you found this episode helpful, hit the like and subscribe button and share it with somebody who's ready to tackle their debt. And don't miss out on our next episode where we're going to talk about how to stay out of debt once you're free of it. So as always, keep your cents and sensibilities in check.